the level of discipline that I hold in my life is something that in any aspect of life, if you want something bad enough, like you need that level of discipline. Like blacked out. I don't remember what happened that night, but it got out of hand.
Hello, my fellow Martians. My name is Harry Mars, and this is the On Mars Pod, where we take a deep dive into creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike.
Like, immediately felt like home. Like, it was just like my person. So I worked as a prison guard at a max security prison in Minnesota for about half a year. You know, again, like it's so much bigger than just her beating cancer. It's encouraged and brought light to so many people. So
Hello, my fellow Martians. Today on Mars, we are joined by an entrepreneur, recording artist, and a tattoo artist. We got Ryce in the building.
what's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. So if you don't know, Ryce is actually the person that got Emo Girl Inc., aka Sierra Susha, on the pod. This is Sierra's boyfriend. Thank you so much for getting her on. That was such an amazing episode.
Hey, y'all killed that.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, I mean, she killed it. Her life story is amazing, and it's cool that you got to experience, so much with her already. And you guys have been through a lot in kind of a relatively short time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
You guys have probably grown as in a relationship like 10 years.
Yeah, no doubt.
like just a short amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, became so close. So thanks again for that. And yeah, Ryce also makes music. He's been doing music for a minute here now. He used to go under XXX Stacy. So we were talking before the cameras are rolling. That's kind of like an older version of his artistry. He's kind of changed up things a little bit. He's going to be dropping music under Ryce, which is his actual name. So we're going to get into all of that. But on Mars, we talk to creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike. That's our whole thing here. So that's why I had to bring you on, because you are an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
You started the Afterparty with Sierra. And that's really exciting. The tattoo shop in Phoenix. If you guys need a tattoo, hit these guys up meet us at the afters.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I want to talk about all that. But before we get into your music and everything that you do now, I want to talk about the early days.
Okay, for sure.
Because you're not from Arizona, is that right?
No,
You're
Minnesota.
from Minnesota. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay, cool. So those early days in Minnesota, what were the influences around you, like music, movies, TV, like culture, I guess would be the question.
Man, so it was nothing like it is now. Like I come from a very small town, 4,000 people, I think was about the population when I was there, Princeton, Minnesota. And, like small farmer boy town,
Wow.
But in my home, it was a lot of, like my dad grew up on Eminem, or I grew up on Eminem from my dad.
Right.
Like Bob Marley, country music from like my grandparents. So,
Nice.
it was all over the place, rock, rap, everything under the sun. But I would say the heavy influences were definitely um that were presented to me were like country, which is
Really?
nothing like, not I don't dislike country. I love all
Right.
music, but um, it was definitely more small town vibes. And it's also, I feel it's important to note that like my dad's black. And
Yeah.
so there was like a handful of black people in my town. And so there's a different component that comes into it, I guess culturally.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to ask about, like influences and stuff, like my friends weren't listening to the same kind of music that I was, just because my dad came from a different background.
Right.
So it was interesting.
That's nice. I mean, I feel like that's, as a kid, it's a blessing to have multiple different influences from multiple different people in your family too, because
Yeah.
it's like your grandparents versus your dad versus even your mom. Was your mom listening to like any specific types of music or anything like that, or?
Man, like I don't know, I feel like as a kid, I think of, like, Black Eyed Peas.
Oh,
She
really?
listened to
Like
radio
radio
music.
type music?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you were still hearing that, like, on the car rides and stuff like that? You
Yeah.
guys would have, like, top 40 type shit on?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's sick, man. I mean, it makes sense because you eventually ended up, getting a guitar early on. Those early days, like, how early did you get a guitar?
Man, I it was my dad's. Like, my
Wow.
dad, he had a guitar, and it was, there's a photo of me, and I think I just shared it recently, of me sitting there with the guitar, and honestly, like, I don't remember it, but I remember that music was very important to my dad. So we go to my grandparents' house, and he had all of his, like, his shit from when he was a kid, and
Yeah.
that was important to him when he was younger. So, you know, he handed it to me, and, like, my aunt played guitar a little bit. So, um, I never learned how to play it, but I fucked around with it. I like the sound, I like the idea of music, because it was handed to me very early on.
Yeah. Okay, so it was one of those things that you didn't, like, ask for it, but it was like a
Mhm.
family heirloom, if you
Yeah,
will.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's cool, man. Because then you didn't really, like, take it seriously until later on in life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's just, it's cool that you have that picture though, because that's the picture that I saw, and I was like, "Dude, he looks so young." I'm
Yeah,
like, "Dude,
yeah.
no way he's playing this whole time, that's crazy." Today's episode is sponsored by Lantern Coffee, based out of my hometown, Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you're still sipping on that gas station coffee, this is your sign to get your life together. Lantern does coffee the right way. Whole beans, small batch, straight from the source. I personally get 2 bags a month myself. It's what fuels us here every day on Mars. If you want to taste what I'm talking about, go to lanterncoffee.com, use promo code ONMARS for 20% off of your first order. That's lanterncoffee.com, use promo code ONMARS, 20% off your first order. Treat yourself, because friends don't let friends drink bad coffee. Let's get back to the show. You played hockey, right?
Mhm.
And also you were a skateboarder, right?
I skateboarded,
Yeah,
yes,
because
sir.
I want to talk about skateboard a little
Yeah,
bit
hell
because that
yeah.
was like early days for me. I mean, I got my first skateboard at 8 years old. So,
Yep,
it's
yep.
like, what about you? Like, what was your first early memories of skateboarding?
So, I was, again, like, in this little town, like, I was a fucking punk. Like,
Yeah.
I just, me and a couple of kids in this neighborhood that I grew up in on Meadowview Drive, like, it's just like a little loop, really. Um, Me and a couple of kids, got together, and we just all like skateboarding. So we would
Wow.
skateboard around the neighborhood, and, like, I had limitations on, like, going into town even though town was 5 blocks away just because I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I tell my mom we were going, like, over to Tommy's house, and, we hit Crete Park,
Yeah.
which was, like, the utility center of, the town. And we did, little punk shit. Like, I remember throwing rocks at buses at this place and, like, breaking windows and just
Yeah.
for no reason.
Classic skate rat stuff.
Yeah, yeah, just being a little shit. Um, and so that was, like, that was early on, and I got, like, dreadlocks, and, like, I just
Oh,
was not
wow.
like anybody else in the town, you know what I mean? Like, people looked
Wow.
at me, and I got made fun of a lot, for doing the things that I did up until about 6th grade, and that's when I kind of met a new group of friends, and they all played hockey. And so, because I had been made fun of so much, was picked on, I was like, "Fuck this, like, I want to fit in." And so I started doing what the cool kids were doing, which was playing hockey. In
Yeah.
Minnesota, if you don't play hockey, like, who are you, I
Yeah, yeah,
guess?
yeah. It's very Midwest thing, yeah.
Yeah, and looking back on it now, like, I'm not that person at all anymore. Like, I don't do anything that anybody else does. Um, but sports became, like, the center of my life. So I dropped skateboarding, I dropped music, or, my, like, little raps that I would write as a kid.
Mhm.
Um, and just became, like, the jock or like, you know, the tail end of the jocks. Like it was if it's like a ladder, like, you know, there's the cool kid up here. I was like hanging on at the bottom rung in
Damn.
the group. But I was always in sports. I played hockey, I played football, I played baseball, I played soccer going to high school. Like captain of the soccer team, not because I was good at soccer, but because I had good character. My coach told me. So
Nice.
I was like that
Yeah.
kid, you know. I've always been like good morals, good values, like hardworking. But I never really knew where I fit in. And at that time in my life, sports was like that's what felt like home to me, I guess, because I
Yeah.
didn't know anything else.
Hey, Martians, real quick. I appreciate you taking the time to listen or watch wherever you are in the world. Over the last few months, the Martian family has grown so much. I could not be more thankful for all of my guests and every single one of you who continue to tune in every single week. Subscribers, ratings, likes, and comments all help us grow here on Mars. And it would mean the world. If you haven't already, please go to onmarspod.com/subscribe to subscribe on YouTube. Like and leave a comment, rate us on Spotify. All this good stuff helps keep the engine running to inspire Martians all over the world. P.S. Follow us on Instagram at onmarspod. Okay, let's get back to it. For sure, man. I mean, it was a huge part of your upbringing. I mean,
Yeah.
you're growing up, and I think I wanted to ask, like, what did you learn like about discipline with yourself when it comes to sports? Because obviously, to play sports consistently, you have to have discipline when it comes to
Yeah.
balancing work or sports and school, I guess, as a kid. So what did that teach you about like your own discipline?
So school always came first. Like I was never like I wasn't like a trouble kid. Like I didn't get into trouble at school. I always did my homework. Like mom ingrained that into my head. Like school comes first. And then when you pull sports into it, maybe a little bit closer, like getting into high school, like I was a goalie in
Nice.
hockey. So it's kind of like a standalone position. Like you really have to depend on yourself, and you have a team around you, but like you are you're the last last ditch effort, I
Yeah,
guess.
for sure.
So I mean, that was like discipline was like I got me, and like I need to take care of me and what I do in school, in sports, in everything. And like home life too I was the oldest of all of my siblings, and my parents got divorced when I was in 4th grade. So like I carried the weight of like I'm gonna take care of everything. And so
Right.
that kind of carried over into every aspect of my life. Like it just spilled into it. Like I'm gonna be the most disciplined person that
Yeah,
I can be, because I need to be.
for sure. Not only for yourself, but the people that you love
Yeah.
too. At that point, did you live with your mom more after your parents split, or did you kind of half and half it situation?
It was like every other weekend I was
Every
with my
other-
dad. With
Okay,
my
so
dad,
he was still part of your life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah. But he didn't have a spot all the time. So like he was kind of bouncing around. So like we would go up to grandma's, which is like a 3-hour drive. So like he would pick us up, we'd go up there for a night and a half, and then we would turn back around, and then I'd be at mom's for another week and a half.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was a weird time in my life, but I don't know. Like I look back on it now, and it formed me into who I am now. You know what I
Absolutely,
mean?
man. And I feel like when things like that happen as a kid too, it forces you to grow up a little bit faster
Yeah.
than people around you, especially when you're involving yourself with so much. You're
Yeah.
doing sports, and then you also have creative loves, and you also have to do school, but then you also have things going on at home. So it's like kind of a lot of weight as a kid to be
Yeah.
experiencing. So you probably had to grow up a lot faster than siblings and the people around you.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's a blessing in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how many siblings do you have, by the way?
I'm the oldest of 6 blood, and then I
Damn.
have 4 stepbrothers and a stepsister. So it's like a circus. Yeah,
Doug, how many people were living at the house all at one time?
There would have been 8 because the
Okay.
stepsister and the 4 stepbrothers, they were at the other houses.
Got you.
So-
Okay, so 8 people, 8 kids,
Yeah.
all in one house.
Well, 6.
6.
And then 2
okay.
adults.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 8 people. So 6 kids. I mean, 6 kids though is still a lot of kids to
fucking
have in
crazy,
one
man.
house,
Yeah.
dude. Ah, shit.
Nuts.
What are the ranges? Like, how much older are you? Did you like grow up with some of these kids, or are they like way older?
No. So I'm the oldest, and the next is my sister Rhea, who's 2 years younger than me, and
Okay.
then under that it was about like every 2 years until my half brothers came in, and they're a year apart. So yeah, it's pretty much like 2 years, 2 years, 2 years.
Okay.
Down the ladder.
That's pretty cool because I feel like you can kind of still grow up a little bit. Like you're 2 years younger than you, sister. Like can kind of look up to you in a sense of like, oh, he's like it's only 2 years. Because if you're like 6 years apart, it's like
It's weird.
hard to relate.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's a whole generation.
And I think, like I talk to Sierra about this often because she's really close with her brothers. And my family being across the country now, like it's weird getting older, but I am so grateful for the fact that I had like such a tight bond with my siblings, like through everything, through the divorce and everything. Like we leaned on each other. And there's a lot of families who have like crazy dynamics and like siblings don't fuck with each other.
For sure.
They grow apart and they don't like each other.
Yeah, unfortunate.
And even though they're all in Minnesota right now, like I love them all so much. And like, we're still so close, even though we're all, in our getting into our 20s now and like going our own ways, like we still share that love. Like there's no animosity towards anybody, even though we've been through so much shit together.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a blessing.
Absolutely, man. I mean, people that don't have that love, that family value like in them is like, damn, like I feel bad that like they don't get to experience that, because I feel the same way about like my family in Michigan, because I've been out here for almost 11 years now, and like I talk to my mom 6-7 days a week. So it's just like we are so tight, and like my family, and like having to see my niece grow up through like a screen and like see her like in screenshots, or you're not screenshots, but like blips of time, like every 6 months I'll see her, you know what I'm saying? That's tough, shit like that. But like the fact that she knows who I am, and like my, I still talk to my sisters, my cousins all the time. It's like, I'm so glad that I have that. So it's 100%. Yeah, dude. Do you have any other family out here at all in Phoenix?
My whole family, minus my dad and stepmom and stuff, like they were in Minnesota. But my mom and ex-stepdad now, that's another thing.
What's your mom?
My mom and the rest of my family, minus my oldest sister, Rhea, had moved out here, and they were out here for about a year. And things just didn't work out. Like financially, it was weird for them. It got hard. So they went back to Minnesota, and they've been back for about 1.5 years now.
Okay.
So they were here, and then they followed me out here a year after I got here, and then they left after a year of being here.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. Because you were already probably had your own situation going on by the time they came out. So it's like, that makes sense. So I do kind of want to talk about something before we get into like moving out to Arizona, like still in like high school days. Were you, because I mean, now you're a tattoo artist and you own this tattoo shop, and I mean, you've kind of built your craft in like the arts in that sense.
Yeah.
Were you always like a painter, drawer, artist, like on paper, anything like that?
Not even in the slightest, man. Okay. Like I think about art class in high school, and like I said, I was always a good kid. So like I would do my work, but I have paintings from high school, and like it was just like a joke to me, because like I said, I was so involved with
goof
this
off class.
Yeah, for sure. And like in retrospect, I wish I had taken it more seriously. Like I wish I had picked up a guitar in high school when I said I wanted to, and I wish I had taken those music classes more seriously, or the painting classes, because as a kid, like I did draw and I wrote music, and I picked up the guitar, but I gave it up so willy-nilly just to fit in with people. So by the time high school came around, like it was obsolete.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, where it's like you kind of gave up your own passions to try to like fit in and made that your identity. I mean, you became pretty good at it though, right? Like being, because you were pretty good at hockey, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I mean,
subjectively, yeah. I would say I was the shit, but I think there's a lot of people who probably would say otherwise. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So then after high school, then you go to University of Minnesota for psychology, though.
Yep.
So I guess why psychology? And also, did you finish that out with that
Yeah.
major?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what was that experience like? And like, did you have any like electives that were like art or anything like that, or it was just like straight up psychology just to try to get a job in the field or something?
So when I was in high school, I had started getting acne, and I originally went to um, University of Minnesota Duluth, which is in northern Minnesota, and I was up there for a semester before I transferred down to the U of M because it was so snowy and isolated from everything else and cold. I experienced depression for the first time in my
Yeah,
life, and I
for
was
sure.
like, I need to like run away.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a trend over the next couple years is like running away from shit. So I transferred to the U of M, with the intention of going to school to be a dermatologist because I was like, I have acne and I like saw this dude who helped cure it. And like, this is so important to me
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know what was actually important to me. I was
Yeah.
18 or 17 when I made the decision.
Right.
So anyways, then I transferred to the U of M and I fell out of a chem class and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like I'm not smart enough for this.
To be a dermatologist.
To be a doctor of any sort. Like I'm not
Gotcha.
smart enough, nor do I care enough about um learning this, or this sounds bad, but like I don't care enough about other people and their problems at this point in time to
Right.
like be their hero of any kind. Like I don't even like I'm broken inside
Trying to take care of
experiencing
yourself.
depression.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Like I'm so
yeah.
sad and miserable. Like how could
Yeah.
I help anybody else? I can't
Right.
even pass this test.
Right.
Um
Damn.
so yeah, anyways, I switched over to psychology, which I really didn't know what I wanted to do with. But I loved learning about the brain because I knew that it was like everything that was happening at that time was all in my head. You know what I mean? So um, I learned about all of it and I fell in love with it. And then by the time I graduated, I still had no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. So, um, well, that's not entirely true. I thought I wanted to be in forensic criminology. So, like, the psychological component of like serial killers, like why bad guys do stuff.
Interesting.
Which was, at the time I was like, this is awesome. So to get my
Sure.
feet wet in the field, I decided that I was going to be a prison guard. So I worked as a prison guard at a max security prison in Minnesota for about half a year.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What-
And it was
What kind of shit did you see there?
I don't know, man. Like I want to have a conversation with homie Zoe
Yeah.
because I know he spent time
Yeah.
and just talk about it from like both ends of the spectrum because what I saw, like, it just inhumane, bro. And like I wanted to go in there and help people because at this point in my life I was like, I want to make a difference in people's life with the tools that I've learned, about myself and about other people. And I got in there and there was just no room for it. Like the system is unfortunately built against,
that type of
rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it, but nobody does anything to change it because it's so deeply rooted in, it's just how things have worked. So
Yeah.
after 6 months of being there, I got the fuck out because it was hell. But during my time there, I would sit at the end of the cell block and I would be in my head and kind of getting back into a depression phase in my life, if you will. I needed an outlet. So I brought a little notepad in and I started writing poems again and drawing. And
Wow.
I would take these ideas that I wrote on, like a little notepad. And I would go home and I started painting them. And that is kind of where art came back into my life. It was at this point to cope.
For sure, it's like a form of therapy.
Yeah, it was therapeutic for sure.
Damn, dude. And then when you left that job, how soon after that did you move out to Arizona then? Because it must have been shortly after that, like maybe, a year or so, something like that.
Yeah, it was a little under a year.
A little under a year. Okay.
Yep.
So what did you do? I guess why did you come to Arizona specifically?
To get sober.
Okay.
Because I was I'd been partying in college. Like I worked at a bar and I fucking partied. And it was a lot of fun. Like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But um, prior to COVID, it was just like drinking and stuff. And then COVID came around, and my living situation changed, and I moved in with a couple of people who are still friends to this day. You know, I still love them very much, but they knew people who knew everybody in the city. So I very quickly um, fell into this group of like 25 to 30-year-olds who had money and access to anything that, they could have wanted, I
Yeah.
could have wanted, and they spoon fed it to me. I was like the baby in the group, so they like pulled me in and like here. So
Yeah.
um I got really into cocaine was my vice, and I was on that like crazy for like 2 years as it slowly grew into a problem. And then one night while I was with an ex, I did a little too much, and I like blacked out. I don't remember what happened that night, but shit got like it got out of hand. And I woke up the next day, went out and did it again, and cut ties with her momentarily. And then the next day was Father's Day, and I woke up and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like, this is the shit that I saw growing up in my household that I swore I would never, ever, ever do." And so, you know, a moment of like brutal honesty or awakening, I guess, if you will, led me to, um, I guess, realization that like I hit a fork in the road. It was like I could either, continue down this path of what I've seen, or I could be the person that I hold inside, like the
Wow.
values I have. So
Yeah.
um, less than a month later, I was in Arizona, or about a month later, I was in Arizona, and I was in treatment. And yeah, man, it
Damn.
happened quick. Like it was just
For
like
sure.
it was a black and white decision for me.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you gotta like hit your lowest point to be able to see the light in a
Yeah,
sense, because you don't even know that you're in the dark until you like hit the bottom.
yeah,
And that's, I mean, fuck, I'm so glad you made that decision because you could have easily just ignored that put time, and just been like, well, fuck it. Let me just do another line and then I'll think
yeah,
about it later. Just
yeah,
push, 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 push. Cause a lot of people just end up pushing things down and just never deal with it head on and deal with it at the root of the issue. And that's, I mean, it takes a lot
yeah.
from a person to like have that realization and like almost like pull yourself out of it almost cold turkey in a sense too.
Well, and I think it was, I mean, that year after I graduated, in between me coming out here, like I'd already tried quitting once. So like it was something where I had pushed it down, and I
Mhm.
had like going into working as a CEO, like I gotten sober just before that. And then I started using while I was a CO, because the other COs were like, "Nah, like they don't actually test you for shit here." And so then it picked back up about 6 months after I quit. Um, and then it spiraled even quicker than the other times I had tried to quit, because that's how it goes, right?
Mhm.
So yeah,
Damn.
no, I tried pushing it down, man. And I think anybody who's gotten sober after any period of time, or in the process of getting sober, like, you know, you try and push it down as long as you can, and then you hit that fork in the road.
For sure, man. So I mean, you came out here by yourself at the time, and how long were you in treatment out here then?
I moved out here with an ex, and that
Oh,
relationship
so
was
okay,
still really rocky. But if
okay,
it wasn't for her, coming out here with me, like I don't think I could have done it by myself.
yeah, it's a
Um,
big move.
yeah, it is. But I was in treatment for, man, I started in August, and then some insurance stuff happened like halfway through. So it was like I was in for like 2.5 months, and then I had to take like a month off, and then I did another 2 or 3 months. So I was in for a decent amount of time, but it was like for the first time in my life, I was around people who like I thought like, and like it made sense. Like I wanted to be clean. Not everybody there wanted to be clean. Some people were forced into it because
Yeah,
they'd done some dumb shit. But
right, right.
um
Like legally, so, yeah,
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 like
yeah,
they
yeah.
had to be
Right,
there.
right, right.
But regardless, it was all people who have like that addict mind, who thought alike. And that felt safe to me, because for so long I was around people who were just like, pushing it down, or like they didn't even realize that there was
A problem.
a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like enablers for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, and the thing about, like, you gotta surround yourself with, like, people that are, people you wanna be like. I
Mhm.
think that's such a true thing, and surround yourself with people that inspire you and, make you wanna be a better version of yourself, and if you're surrounding people that are constantly killing themselves or, like, making themselves a worse version of themselves or, like, being dicks and, like, you're
Yeah.
you're seeing this shit and, like, you're surrounding yourself with those people, like, that'll turn you into that person so fast,
Yeah.
on accident, and you don't even realize it, but
And it really goes back to, for me, like at this point in time, like I cut everybody off. Like
yeah.
I went ghost on all socials for 6 months, 7 months. I
When you
still
moved?
don't when I moved,
Yeah.
yeah. And I still don't have some of those socials because after that time period, I told myself 6 months, and 6 months came around and I was like, I don't need this in my life anymore. So,
Mhm.
that's not to say that there aren't people that I reconnected with. Like I said, my roommates who were in the thick of it with me, like I still have so much love for him, and even though, like he was there and he was, an enabler, I guess, if you will, like it wasn't with mal intentions
Right.
or malice.
Yeah. You guys were
So
just young having fun.
yeah, right. We were in college, but he could handle it. I couldn't. Like he was built to party. I wasn't built to party.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it goes back to like that discipline that we were talking about a little bit ago. Like
Mhm.
I knew in my heart and my soul that that's what I wanted. Like I wanted to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of discipline, and it took a lot of will and power that a lot of people don't have. And
For
since
sure.
I've done it, I'm 3 years sober now off cocaine and booze.
Amazing.
But it's one of those things where people like you inspired me to get sober, and like your journey has helped me with something unrelated to sobriety, just
Right.
because they've seen that,
The story.
if you want to do it, you will do it.
Yeah.
And that's, that wasn't my intention when I got sober. I did it for me, but in doing it, I've realized that the level of discipline that I hold in my life is something that in any aspect of life, like if you want something bad enough, like you need that level of discipline. And so I think other people look at the things that I've done or am in the process of doing, and it helps to inspire and motivate, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%, dude, and the fact that it's been something that's, like, a core value of yours, though, I
Mhm.
think it goes back to when you were a kid and, having to grow up quick. That allowed you to have that strong will and
Mhm.
discipline when the time came to make a hard decision like that,
Yeah.
to make a decision to move across the country, cut everyone off, and go sober, like, that's a life-changing decision,
Yeah, for
straight up,
sure.
for
Yeah.
sure. You, like, change your life for the
Yeah.
better,
Like overnight. Yeah.
overnight, yeah,
Yeah.
in the span of a month. I mean,
Mhm.
that's fast for sure. And then how long was it after that that you kinda felt like you got, like, your roots out here and, like, you felt, like, established and felt, like, level-headed and ready to kinda start moving forward?
Oh, man. Oh, I mean, truth be told, like, I got out here, and like I said, that relationship ended, so
Right.
there was a time where I was jobless. I was sleeping in the back of my car because she was staying in the apartment, and I didn't have money because I was paying for the apartment.
Damn.
So it was kinda like, do or die. So, like, I walked around and I did, like, door to door campaigning for, politics, and, like, it just like,
Interesting.
stuff that was,
It's like
like,
odd
totally.
jobs?
Yeah, just, like, random stuff, and then, I had, been applying to a million different places on Indeed, and Neiman Marcus was one of those places, and they had a seasonal position and a sales position. I love fashion. I've
Yeah,
always loved fashion.
for
So,
sure.
um, I applied for it, and I went in for the interview, and I told them I wanted to do this, and they're like, we need experienced salespeople. You don't have any experience, but we have this seasonal position that you could take up. So about 2 weeks into this seasonal position, I told them, I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to be working over in the men's department. And by the end of this seasonal role, I want to be on the men's floor selling. So,
Nice.
um, I was very vocal about it, and let me show you what I can do. Let me show you I'm
Yeah.
capable of learning in a short period of time, and also selling myself and your product at a high level, because these are people, um, that have money. Like,
For
people,
sure.
like, they know what they're going in to get, and if they don't, they want you to tell them, and you need to be able to sell it. So,
Yep.
yeah, within a month of the seasonal position ending, they didn't have any openings right away, so they called me back about a month later,
Nice.
and that first weekend I was there was Super Bowl weekend. I think I sold $85,000 in 3 days worth of clothes. $85,000 worth of clothes.
Oh my gosh, bro.
And at this time, you get 8% of that paycheck.
Oh man, so you caked up.
Yeah, bro. And then
Sup?
I went out and I bought a fucking Saint Laurent jacket,
Let's
and like
go.
fucking balled out a little bit and
Let's
treated
go.
myself,
For
because
sure.
I fucking, was down so low for so long.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
and so I was there for 2 years, and then I'd met Sierra about halfway through that, and we started becoming good friends, and she started out as my tattoo artist.
Oh,
and
really?
yeah.
Nice.
We had met through a mutual Neiman Marcus friend.
No way.
So yeah, we met at a dinner, and she fucking ghosted me for like 3 months. I hit on her a little bit, and she's like, nah, like, but anyways, yeah. She couldn't resist. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, she started tattooing me, and a friendship and a bond formed that, like, that was, I'd made a couple friends at Neiman Marcus, and like they kind of started to ground me a little bit, but it still wasn't like home.
Yeah.
And Sierra, like, immediately felt like home. Like, was just like my person. Not even in like a romantic way, though, that's where it ended up, but it was like I just always wanted her around. And so through her is where I feel like I really started to kind of blossom out here and start meeting people. And then
when was that? What year did you guys meet?
This would have been 2.5 years ago.
Okay, so like 23, probably 2023.
End of 2022 or beginning of 2023, maybe.
Okay.
Or beginning of 2023.
When you guys started like dating, or was this when you first met?
This is when we first met.
Yeah. Then you guys weren't dating until a few months later. Then.
Well, no, I guess it would have been 2022, because we've been together a little over a year and a half, or about a year and a half. My brain's not working right now. It's been some time.
For sure. Yeah.
But it's funny because like everything blends together now. Like I'm so
fast
busy
too.
now, and everything happens so fast.
Yeah.
Seemingly, even though in the moments themselves, like, it feels like everything takes forever.
Yeah.
Or that's how it felt. But yeah, no, it's been some time. And then I had some homies move from Minnesota, and I lived with them for a little while.
Okay.
One of them's back home. One of them's still out here doing his own thing now. And
did you have your own apartment before that? After your girl, like, because obviously you weren't with your girl, you were single working at Neiman Marcus, so you had your own spot.
No, I actually. So after that very first apartment that I had, when I
Right.
was sleeping in my car. After that, I just by happenstance, one of my college roommates was living out here, and he needed a roommate, and so it was just like
Perfect.
divine. Yeah, it just worked out.
Universe, yeah, for sure.
So I was with him for a couple of months, and then he moved back to Minnesota, and my one buddy that I ended up living with later on moved in with me there.
Perfect.
And then me and the other dude that came out moved into a new spot. We were there for about a year, and then I moved in with Sierra.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you kind of like had roommates throughout that time before you ended up moving in with Sierra.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. So those early days, Sierra talks about in her episode, she talks about how like she kind of had quit painting for a while, and then when you guys got together, it was something that you guys started doing together to kind of like bond in a way in the early days. I just want to talk about like those early days, because I think obviously that was a really important thing for her, but also for you as well, to kind of, I don't know, express yourself through art, even though you might not have felt like you were great at it, but like, and also with someone that you had feelings and loved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she would come over, and I don't smoke anymore, but I'd be like stoned off my ass. Like, I couldn't do much, but I could paint. I couldn't paint good, but I could do something. So You know, and before that, like, she would come over and I had some art hung up, and she's told me this recently, but she was like, I saw this painting that you had in your room, and I was like, "Oh, like, I fuck with you because of that painting." And so, you know, fast forward a couple of months, we're hanging out more, and, I don't exactly remember how it came up, but I was like, "Yo, like, do you wanna paint?" Like, I was gonna paint tonight if you wanna paint. So she came over and we did this piece and we broke it up, like, into 9 squares, and we each just painted, like, a different square and,
Love that.
or multiple different squares,
Right,
but
right. Just took over like half and half, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and, you know, it's in storage right now, but, like, we still got it, and it's, like, it's such a weird thing to look back on because after that, like, you know, like she said in her episode, when the diagnosis came, like, that's all we did for so long was paint, and, you know, it really opened up so many different doors for her, for me, you know, in so many different ways. Yeah, I mean, just wild to think about it.
For sure, man. It was such an important thing for both of you guys,
Yeah,
for real. And how long was it after you guys were like seriously dating that she ended up getting that first
we
diagnosis?
weren't even dating.
You weren't even
No, we
dating.
weren't dating. It
Oh
was
my gosh.
I played I played the hard to get game, I guess, for not hard to get, but, like, I swore off love because I had so many bad experiences with it, and I felt I wasn't ready for it, um, and she was persistent, and like I said, she felt like home, and so I pushed that away for a while until I couldn't anymore,
Yeah.
and so it was in December, end of December, when I finally had a conversation with her, and I was like, "Hey, like, I'm willing to not willing to, I want to try this. Like, I'm open to trying this and see where it goes." Um, and within a month, she was diagnosed with cancer. So I hadn't officially made her, you know, like my girlfriend, I guess,
Girlfriend.
if you will.
Right, right.
Um, but we were hanging out. And so,
Mutually exclusive, I guess you could
yeah,
say. Yeah.
yeah. And when she texted me and said, I'm, you know, like, I have cancer, um, it was a moment for me where it was like, okay, I could run again, or I could just be there for this person and see again, like, where things go. Because I had so much love for her. And I didn't I didn't know anything other than that, you know, like, I
Yeah.
love this person, and um let's just roll with it.
For sure, man. I mean, that takes such like a big that it takes such a big person to be that guy because you like you said, you could have easily been like, that's too much, you know?
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people have said to me, you know, throughout the experience, was like, you know, like, "You're such a good man," like, praise me for it. And for me,
It was
it
never
never felt like it was even a question. Like, it was just like, "Yes, like, I'm in this with you." And I told her, like, "I'm in this with you till the wheels fall off." And, um, you know, that's what it's been. I haven't been
yeah.
the perfect, cancer buddy, I guess, if you will, throughout the duration. Like, it's hard, man, but,
Yeah.
um, I definitely haven't left her side.
Yeah, man. I mean, realistically, you inspired her to be positive through all this negative shit going on. And the way that she explains you coming into her life is like so beautiful in a sense of like the world gave her the worst thing that happened to her in her life and the best thing that happened to her in her life,
Yeah,
talking
it's
about you.
beautiful.
And as like when she said that, I was like, that is such like an amazing way to put it because it could have like she could have easily gone down a negative path herself. And because she had a pillar of light, you know, your relationship,
Yeah,
that's what allowed her to keep pushing in a positive way. And you guys painted and you know, you reignited the flame within her with her own creative loves and her passions and all of that. And it was like you guys were so meant for each other. It's insane. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, man.
It's so crazy, like for real, for real. But it's like I want to talk about the early days of starting the after party too, because
Yeah,
that was around that same time, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah.
If the timeline's yeah. So when did you guys do like the first after party, like the when you guys were first kind of getting everything together, getting the business together, when you had the discussions, like she was talking about how you run the business and I'll do the art side.
Mhm.
Like, when did those conversations start happening? Like shortly after the diagnosis?
So after the diagnosis, the idea was born. I remember she texted me and she's like, I had a dream. And I think she told you
Yeah.
this
Yep.
too. She was like, I
Exactly.
had a dream, the after party. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck
You're
is
like,
this? Like,
let's
this
go.
is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But originally, it wasn't supposed to be me. It was supposed to be another girl who she worked with. And Sierra was so on it and so all in. But this other person wasn't, you know, doing what they were saying they would commit to do. So after X amount of time of her talking about it, I was finally like, like I'm good where I'm at. Like I'm making money, but I'm also miserable in this job at this
Yeah.
point because I'm working for somebody um, that has control over me 5 days a week. And this job is so stressful. Sales is so stressful. Um, let me help you. Let
Yeah.
me, you help me get me out of this job and I help you with the studio. So being a tattoo artist, though I had thought about it in the past and did some research on it, like it was never in my plan
Yeah.
to open a tattoo shop or become a tattoo artist. It's her dream. And to
Mhm.
this day I tell her that like it's our business now. It's our baby now, but it was her dream to begin with.
Yeah.
And so when the conversation started being had, when I'd run that by her, like, hey, like I'll do this, she was all about it from the get-go. And I had no idea what the fuck I was getting myself into.
It's a lot.
But I was so not overly confident. I was very confident in the fact that I would be good at it because I had spent so much time talking with these millionaires, one billionaire, and people who ran successful businesses. When I was at
Mhm.
Neiman, like I pimped Neiman out. Like I got everything that I could out of that place
Hell yeah.
to, learn and grow as a person and in business and be like the people that were coming in there to shop, minus blowing my money on stupid shit I don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was confident in the fact that I could start something, and I didn't know what it looked like, how to do anything. And she had a little bit of an idea because she, had been running a shop. But it just kind of took on a life of its own. And it was very stressful starting out because, you gotta figure everything out. And as you're doing it, you're figuring more things out.
Mhm.
Anybody who started a business, the Mars podcast,
For sure.
like you said, you figure it out as you go. You find out what you need, and then you start there. And then as new things come, you add to it.
Yep.
But like getting a location, like we had set like a deadline for us to get a location, and that deadline came and went, and like we still didn't have one.
Damn.
And meanwhile, her lease at the other space was coming to an end. And so we kind of rushed the first location, and it fucked us because we ended up buying out of that lease come her diagnosis.
Was that the big spot?
That was the big spot off
Yeah.
Central. Yeah.
Right.
And, everybody told us like, what if you get re-diagnosed? What if you get re-diagnosed? And, we were, I guess, naive to the fact that like it was a very real thing, but every single doctor and everything about her first diagnosis, like it was against all odds. Like it didn't make sense. So the idea of it coming back,
She had a 6% chance of it coming
Yeah.
back, I think she said.
yeah, it was low.
You're basically guaranteed that you're not going to get it again.
Right.
Like 94% chance you're not going to get it is like,
You're not gonna you think
you're
about
not
it
gonna
in,
get it.
in any other aspect, like those numbers in any other aspect of life, like 94% chance that you're not gonna win. Like, all right, like why would I even show up?
Right,
And
exactly.
that's the mentality a lot of people have, and that's the mentality that we had going into the business was like,
Totally.
like we're pretty much good.
Yeah.
Um,
So you pulled the trigger on it.
yeah. Because and looking back, even if we could redo it, I would still do it the exact same way because I learned so much
from that process.
that process. Yeah. And if it hadn't happened that way, or if we hadn't made the moves that we made to open it up to begin with, it would still probably be an idea.
Yeah.
And
right.
we would also at the same time be living in fear. And that was my thing You know, if I was like a voice to anybody at any time about anything, like if you want to do something, don't let the fucking fear of failure scare you away. Like, you know, a lot of people probably thought that when it shut down, though we kept it quiet, if we had been vocal about it, there's a lot of people who would have been like, "You guys are fucking idiots. Like, you shouldn't have done that." Fuck them. Like,
Right.
I'll keep going. I'll keep going and keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
I'll fail
So
as many
true.
times as I need to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah,
So
man.
then we move to this next spot, and it feels like we're winning now. You know,
For
Sierra
sure.
just beat Cancer for the second time.
Yes. Amazing.
At the same time, we get a studio filled up with artists for the first time since, you know, its conception. And it was a year, so it's not like it's been a long time, but a year of like, you know, people coming and going and finding the right fit and trying to pay for rent by ourselves,
Mhm.
or cover the extra while Sierra's not working and I'm not working because I'm, you know, trying to run the business, whatever
Totally.
that means.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it was stressful. So now we're in a place where we feel like we're not winning in the sense of like we won, but we're seeing the fruits of our perseverance and our labor pay off, and other people are, you know, cheering us on, which is the
For
most
sure.
amazing thing.
Yeah, man. And you guys are building like a community in a sense
Yeah,
too. It's like because you guys have great artists under you now that are you know, at your levels. You know, like
yeah,
Hondo, we were talking about Hondo's
I love
amazing.
Hondo.
It's
Yeah,
like, and he's one of those guys that's been there from the beginning too. So
yeah,
like I'm sure like when it came down to, especially since you're not an artist at that
mhm,
time when you're doing like the early stuff, having people like Hondo there, I'm sure that really took a lot off of your back too, where you're like, "Oh,
absolutely,
we have talented artists, even though Sierra can't work right now,
right,
we could still make this shit happen.
absolutely,
Let's do this. Let's just like all hands on deck." And it's cool that the team, because I'm sure you were probably working a lot with the team while also like managing her appointments, and
mhm.
you're probably, you know, driving her around and doing all these things with her while also trying to juggle the business. So I guess like talk about like what that was like in the interim with like trying to balance like going to the doctor all the time and then also trying to run the business like from your perspective, you know.
It was interesting, and truth be told, like, it is a blur, but from the pieces that I recall, like, you know, I don't feel like we were really at the shop that much. Like,
Hmm.
there was just no time for it, and
Yeah.
if we were there, it was so in and out, and this wasn't the, you know, full 18 months of you know, her being diagnosed, but, um, it was a good chunk of it, especially the second diagnosis, because once chemo started and radiation started, like, it was, you know, that was 4 or 5 months where Sierra had nothing. Like, her stores were gone. Anything she ate was immediately being used to fight off, you know, the drugs in her body. You know, like, she had nothing. So, um, you know, for me, and it's not to say that the business wasn't important, and I very much had to focus on it, but, um, I had to do my best to be there for Sierra, and that trumped everything else. And
Yeah.
like I said earlier, like, it wasn't perfect in any way, but it was my focus, and at the same time, also trying to keep the business afloat. Like you said, like,
Hmm.
Hondo's somebody that we can rely on, and we know that, and Hondo knows that too. So, you know, we didn't we didn't necessarily go out of our way to, like, ask anybody to, like, hold anything down, but we knew that the shop was alive because we had a couple of people that we could depend on.
Hmm. That's so important, man.
Yeah,
And like the team, and that's like the team shit is so
yeah,
important. Like you couldn't have been able to be where you're at now if you didn't have that team in place back then, because you guys would have just had to make that hard decision of like, well, this we have to put it on the back burner now,
mhm,
because you and Sierra, if you were doing it by yourself, you wouldn't have been able to even keep the
right.
lights on essentially and keep like the rent or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
And there was talks when she was re-diagnosed, there was talks, you know, when we came to make the decision about, you know, getting out of that other studio, it was talked about, like, shutting it down.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do this right now. Like, Sierra, if you need to, or if this is what we decide on, like, work out of a private studio
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
do something like
Scale
that.
it down a little bit.
And that was me, and that was not necessarily fear talking, but it was me being
Realistic,
realistic.
yeah,
But she's so fucking crazy, man, like, good crazy, so
for
driven that
sure.
she's like, "No, I won't let it happen." Like, this
Yep,
is, like I said, it's her dream, and so we did what we had to do,
for
and we
sure.
made the moves that we needed to make, and we figured it out, and it's not like, I will never take too much credit. I'll always, give credit to my higher power for guiding me and, putting things where they need to be, um, but yeah, man, it worked out divinely.
For sure, man. I love that, and it sounds like the whole experience was, it was an emotional, experience, but at the end of the
Yeah,
day, like, you guys grew so much, not only, like, together, but, like, individually as people,
yeah,
and, it's so cool to, like, now still own the business together and now be on the other side of all that bullshit,
yeah.
beat it twice. Shout out to Sierra, because we were talking about it last episode too, like, when she came on, it was like a couple weeks before she would get that final phone
Yeah,
call. And I remember like us talking about like, no, you're not gonna, it's not coming
yeah,
back. Like you're gonna get that. It's so happy to hear that, man.
one, yeah,
So I want to talk about, during the process, you did write cancer tapes.
yeah,
There's gonna be like an EP sort of situation. Like I guess you could call it kind of like an album, but it's like a
yeah, it's somewhere
yeah.
in between,
So
yeah,
yeah, it's like EP album. So it's a
yeah,
collection of songs, we could say,
yeah,
that you wrote during that process.
yeah.
And I just want to talk about like how that music helped you and maybe even Sierra heal during that process.
The cancer tape started really the concept started, like, right after her second diagnosis, and throughout the process of, her first round of treatment, I'd always wanted to write about it, but I could never get it out of me because I was writing, like, angry rap songs, and it didn't fit, I guess. Like, it was never able to make it out.
Hmm.
So we had a little getaway, and I had been thinking about it, so many thoughts going through both of our heads, and we're in the hot tub one night, and I asked her, I was like, "What do you think about cancer tapes as the title of a project?" And it's like you know, telling the story through your lens, through my lens, but in a very raw way. Um, and so that's where it started, and I had no I had no parameters or timeline set for it.
Hmm.
Um, I just wanted to write what felt real to me at any given time. So, um, it's there's 9 tracks, 6 songs, an intro, an outro, and an interlude. But actually, no, excuse me, 5 songs, intro, outro, interlude. Um, but it's a very raw look into the experience of, more specifically this second time, but it speaks on the entirety of it. And for me, I listened back to the tracks, and it was therapeutic in the sense of it being a relief, exercising like the demons, I guess, if you will.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, at some point in the creation of the project, when I finally, things start piecing together, and I realize that, okay, like, this is what I want it to be. I realize that it's not necessarily just for me or just for Sierra. It could be for anybody who's going through something like Sierra went through. And it doesn't have to be cancer, breast cancer, specifically cancer at all. It could be any sort of medical diagnosis. I think
Hmm.
the project really, really lays it heavy on you in the beginning, and it delves into some really dark, heavy thoughts. And that's where it's therapeutic, like letting it out. But the project moves into a lighter, heavier direction towards the end, where it's hopeful and it's optimistic, and it's that light that you're talking about,
Hmm.
because for me, Sierra is the light. Sierra's been the light from the moment I met her. And, while I don't always feel like it, she says the same thing about me. And, we have made it through hell together twice. And um, at an age where things like nothing solidified, like we didn't have a relationship formed at all. Like the relationship has been cancer in a way. Like it
Literally,
is, you know,
yeah. No, yeah,
we're not even through it all yet. But
right,
um, you know, we've built something so strong from it.
for sure.
And, you know, we're in a position to specifically Sierra with her following is in a position to help so many people. And she's already helped so many people and encouraged so many people to get scans. And people have it's fucking crazy. People have found cancer because they were in their 20s and they saw Sierra's story and they demanded that they get a scan.
Yep,
And
that's crazy.
so, you know, it is, I want it to be healing and I want it to reach the people that it needs to reach. First and foremost, it's for Sierra and I.
Yeah,
It's for Sierra. It's a reconciliation with the last 18 months of our life. And that is the core of it. But at the end of the day, it's also aiming to allow people to advocate for themselves and to heal if they're in a position where they can relate to any of our story or anything like our story.
yeah,
So yeah, man, it's a special one. And I never, you know, so many times I've tried to put a project together and, you know, I've never been able to see it through. So for this to be the first project that's coming out under, you know, Ryce, something that's so authentic to me, and to be so meaningful and have the potential to impact people, like I couldn't ask for anything else, you
for
know?
sure, man. No, I mean, what a beautiful way to like encapsulate everything from like from the dark times to the best times
Yeah,
in a project too that's gonna live forever that you can listen to 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? And then look back on and remember like where because this is almost also gonna like encapsulate the beginning of your guys' relationship forever.
yeah,
So it's like 5 years, 10 years from now, when you look back at this is like a digital scrapbook in a sense,
yeah.
with your words and your melodies, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm so excited for you and Sierra to have this out because it comes out on the 3rd of October. You said, right?
That's correct.
Cool. So this will come out on the 10th of October. So if you guys are listening to this, definitely go check out Cancer Tapes, which will be Ryce's first official release under his new moniker, Ryce,
Yes, sir.
which I think is sick. I think that's like, and it's your name too. So
Yeah.
it probably feels a lot, you know,
Yeah, it
more
feels
authentic
real.
too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and making music that you want to make now versus like having to fit into a box that you made
Yeah.
for yourself when you were younger and a little bit more like, I don't know, like angry.
Yeah, like a chip on my shoulder for sure. Yeah, I got something to prove.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just adding on to it because I, you know, without thinking about it, I didn't realize that I don't need to keep the secret because this is coming out after. But you know, there's this interlude on this project and I wanted to gather as many people that were important to Sierra and I in our life, and get a voice memo from them
Amazing.
with words of encouragement. So there's like y'all got to be ready because there's like a 17, 18-minute interlude where it's just people talking about how much they love Sierra and how encouraging her story's been and how proud of her we all are
Oh my
because
God.
it's, you know, again, like it's so much bigger than just her beating cancer. It's encouraged and brought light to so many people.
Oh,
So
man, that's amazing.
yeah, and
That's so sick.
that's the part, you know, whether or not people relate to the songs, I really hope that people relate to or connect with this 20-minute interlude of people talking about, you know, how brave and strong she is because
For sure.
anybody going through it or anything similar, like I've said, like you always have somebody in your corner. And it doesn't matter if it's one person or 10 people, you always have somebody there. And it's always important to keep living and fighting on for yourself, not even them, for yourself.
Yeah, but in a way, it's like when you do it for yourself, it like in turn helps other people too.
Yeah.
So it's so much bigger than just for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's like another thing that's cool about like the fact that Sierra wants to be that like, you know, I want to tell you, I want to explain to you, you need to get checked, and like trying to be an advocate,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, for, you know, young people getting checked and doing
Yeah.
self checks and all this stuff, because it's not a normal thing, and
Right.
that's so important. I'm excited that you guys have this this brand of the After Party to almost do collaborations and do
Yeah.
events and stuff like that, which is so exciting. And before I talk about that, because that is something I want to talk about, I want to talk about how you are transitioning now to being an artist in the tattoo form.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm sure that just having a shop and, you know, being partners with someone who is a great tattoo artist, you're probably like inspired to just try the art. And it was probably what, like 6 months ago now or something like that, you kind of started picking up a gun. I started seeing you like practice on like the practice skin and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I picked up the machine about a year ago.
Oh, a year ago? Okay, nice.
Yeah, I did. It says my first
I
tattoo.
literally this is my first tattoo. Nice.
Yeah, people love that.
It's perfect.
It's funny. But
It's a great
I
story.
picked it up and I did that and I was like, nope, put it right back down. And
Nice.
it was also in the middle of, you know, again, like trying to figure out the business stuff. So it wasn't like the right time. And prior to that, like I said earlier, I'd wanted to learn how to tattoo because I just started painting and I was like, oh, this is a cool way to like make money myself. But it never went that deep. But now I'm officially probably the first tattoo apprentice that owns a tattoo shop. So I got that going for me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the first. But yeah, no, it's been a journey, and like I'm still at the beginning of it. But just like music, man, like when I started that, I didn't have anybody to teach me, and I bought the shit I needed to figure it out. This is just like that, except like you just said, I have a great teacher. Not only do I have Sierra, who's always there to help me, but I have all these other amazing artists in our shop that are always there to help me. And I can go sit down and watch and ask them questions. And
yeah, the ultimate apprenticeship.
yeah, man. Like I don't gotta spend time with one fucking dude who's like sweating over me, like, yeah, this is what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
that's sick, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. And I, you know, truth be told, I'm still terrible. So like if you want to come get a terrible tattoo for the low, hit me up. You can find me at the after party. No, I'm just playing. They're not that bad.
Dude, I've seen some tats you've done on the homies and they're actually really good. They've for like your first, like, yeah, you've done some on Austin, on Danny, and yeah, you're doing your thing, dude.
Let me know when you want to come through,
dude.
bro.
I haven't got tatted up yet.
No, nothing.
I clean slate here. So
oh, okay.
Well, when it's time.
Yeah, don't start with me.
Yeah.
Unless we're a couple years down the road.
Dude, when it's time though, I can't wait to just get blasted.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I have a lot of great artists around me.
Yeah, for sure.
When it's time, I know I'm gonna be able to have fucking awesome art.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
I only want good shit on me. You know what I'm saying?
You don't gotta, man, I got some bad tattoos. You don't gotta go through that. I love my bad tattoos, but most people like good ones.
Yeah. When did you start getting tattoos, by the way?
I got my first tattoo when I was 19, I think. It was this whole forearm sleeve, actually. I sat on it for about a year. And then I got that, and then I did the rest of my arm. And then after that, I really didn't get that much until I moved out here. Are you familiar with Dive Liner by chance? He's an artist out of LA, smaller artist, but he was somebody who helped me through a lot of shit while I was getting sober and going through relationship stuff back in Minnesota. And I realized that he was tattooing to like make money on the side, aside from his music. So when I moved out here, I'd hit him up, and I went out to LA and I got a couple tattoos from him. Okay. But then after that, I didn't get anything until Sierra started tattooing me.
Damn. So you kind of went hard.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, I got into it. And I paid Sierra for a tattoo one time. We had her come over to our homie's apartment, and we both gave her like $400. And we're like, you know, just like give us a couple tattoos. And we paid her way more than we needed to. But then after that, I never paid her again. And
nice.
I pay her in love.
Nice.
So yeah, I got the hookup though, for real.
That's what's
up. Yeah, as far as doing it myself, like, I don't know, man. Like I love all art forms, and I don't I don't want to disrespect the art form and just be like somebody who's like, oh, I'm just gonna do it for money. Though, that's where it started, was like, I need to get out of this job, this second job that I picked up to
Right.
help Sierra financially through treatment. I was like, I'm gonna pick this up and start doing what she used to do, which was just like little flash tattoos. And I very quickly realized that I didn't want to do that. I love American traditional style. So that's been my lane. But I don't want to just do what everybody else does, like I don't want to follow like one style. Like I want to make my own. So that's where I'm heading, is finding out like, how to tattoo, how to do everything, learn everything, which is going to take a long time. But in doing so, I want to learn what tattoos do I want to do, like, and then
Find your
start
style.
making my own.
Yeah, for sure. So you want to start drawing your own designs and things like that as well?
Yeah.
I feel like that would make you a little bit more like attached to the art as well.
Yeah.
If it's like you're putting your own designs on someone versus just like taking another person's design, just throwing a stencil on.
Pinterest.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. It's like there's something to that. I mean, obviously there's an art to just like do, even if it's from a stencil, like making sure it looks good, throwing like great shading on it and stuff like that, especially when it comes to American traditional.
Yeah.
But that's such a cool style that like I feel like that you could have a lot of fun with that if you like it. So
there's so many lanes, like, again, like I don't know everything about tattooing. I know a lot, but like there's neo-traditional, it's called, which is like traditional, but then you bring in like these pops of crazy neon color. And so that is a style that like I've been very called to since I've started, because I love color. But like first you got to learn how to pack black, because packing ink into the skin is difficult, and if you don't do it right, you're gonna fuck somebody up and you're gonna scar them up. So it's baby steps. It's just like any other art form. So
for sure,
in time.
For sure. But it's cool that you have a desire to keep learning and like grow as a tattoo shop owner. That's pretty sick that you like have the ability. I mean, shit, even if it's not something that you do like at the highest level as some of the artists, it's like something fun for you that you can make a little side cash. And I mean, it's just like, it's like a little hobby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for real.
It's like straight up.
And another thing to just conquer, man. Like learn and like I love when I can get good at something over time, and it's not that immediate gratification, but like long term, like, damn, I'm glad I started doing this 6 years ago, because now I'm here.
To look back at your tattoos now, 6 years from now, is gonna be wild for sure, dude.
It's gonna be a trip for sure.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's super exciting, man. I'm glad that you're in a position to be able to do that with some of the best in the city for sure, dude. So I want to talk about, like I was saying, the events that you guys kind of have, because that's something that Cher was kind of hinting at, something coming up in October, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
It's not happening the way that it was originally. Some things kind of got shaky, and so we had to make a decision to step down from the people that we were working with in one way, but there is still collaboration going on with those people. We're just doing something on our own for the event. So I don't know if any of you guys were watching this and were like, I can't wait for October 17th, because I know that's the date she announced.
Yeah.
But that's no longer happening the way it was originally happening. But people can stay tuned for an event in October.
Okay, cool. So things are still happening. You're still going to be doing things, which will be because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So you guys will be doing some sort of breast cancer awareness with Afterparty, and maybe some sort of other collaboration partner or something like that.
Yeah, and just, kind of like we were talking about a little bit ago, just advocating. Like the Afterparty is a tattoo shop, but like you said, we want to build a community.
Yeah.
Like we don't want it to just be tattoos. Like we want it to be a place that feels like home. Like,
for sure,
just community and health and all of the things that are important to us, with tattoos being like the cherry on top.
For sure. Absolutely, man. And it's like, in that sense, it's like the art bringing everyone together, and I think art with tattooing and like music and all these, even like food, you know what I'm saying? Like art, music, food, like those are, like tattooing, music, and food, those are all forms of art.
Yeah.
So it's like you have like an event that you just encapsulate all that. And yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah, hell yeah. What else could you need? Yeah, you got the
Sure,
homies,
dude.
some food, some tattoos, music.
For sure, dude. Have some food trucks pull up. It's
Yeah.
like that's a good time. And I know you guys have done a couple collaborations, like with you did Studio at Wilson. We kind of talked about that a little bit, but I feel like some like events like that. That's
Mhm.
cool. You know, it's city. It's all local businesses coming together. The community coming together. It's like if you know type shit. A lot of
Yeah.
times it's like
And collaborating with people too. I mean, whether it be like, I know somebody with a food truck or,
Yeah.
like since we've started this, like I've met so many little small business owners or big business owners too,
Amazing.
in the valley and elsewhere. And like that's where the magic lies, is like the collaboration, because
Yes.
you can do so much on your own, but when you bring other people into whatever you're doing, whether it's a painting or a song or a podcast, like things just get better. You know
For
what
sure.
I mean? So collaboration is so important to us, and we just want to keep growing with the like-minded people in our city.
Yeah, I love that, dude. No, and that kind of goes back to what we were saying before. Like, you can't do it without a team.
Yeah,
Can't do it
no,
without a team. So it's
absolutely
like
not.
in the team in this sense is the community.
Mhm.
It's just like we can't do it without everyone together, right?
Yeah.
And it's like to make change, you do need that community too. So it's like to make waves in the sense of like the young cancer community.
Yeah.
You know, for lack of a better term, I think it's important for you guys to have these events and kind of make waves in that sense, because then that's going to get more eyes on it and more attention, and then more awareness will be spread.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really the end goal, is to spread awareness for things like this. So
Yeah.
it's super exciting, man. I'm glad that you guys are in this position. It sounds like this is exactly where we're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like-
man. I couldn't say it any better myself.
Yeah.
Like it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well, fuck, man. I'm so excited for it. Do you have anything else coming out soon? I know we already talked about cancer tapes, and we got events with the after party. Is there anything else you're excited about in the near future here?
Just getting back to normal life, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Maybe not normal life, but to be able to live the life that we want to live,
That's
and
right.
to just be fucking free,
Yes.
reach out and not feel any sort of resistance in life. I accept resistance and I always welcome it, but a different kind of resistance than cancer. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, fuck cancer. Yeah,
Fuck cancer
dude.
times 10.
For sure, man. Well, I mean, yeah, it galvanized you guys into fucking the best versions of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you guys are so strong, both of you guys in your own ways. And
Thank you, brother.
for real, man. I'm thankful for your time here and coming on Mars, sharing
Yeah.
your story, because you have an amazing story too, man.
Thank you
real.
for having me, bro.
Of
It's
course.
been a treat.
No, for real. My fellow Martians, you gotta go follow Stacy, Ryce, whatever you want to call him. It's actually Call Me Stacy at Call Me Stacy _ I believe.
Boom, boom.
2
Two
underscores,
of 'em.
right? All
Yes,
right.
sir.
I was looking, I was like, is that 2 or 3? I couldn't tell. Sometimes you can't tell. But at Call Me Stacy _ also at Meet Us at the Afters on Instagram. You definitely got to go follow the After Party. And if you guys need a tattoo, hit up Ryce, hit up Sierra, hit up Hondo. Shit, hit up the Meet Us at the Afters Instagram.
Hit up fucking anybody. We got you.
Yeah. Or just pull up on the gang.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I'm
real.
saying?
Walk-ins welcome.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yes, my fellow Martians, we love you so much. See you next time on Mars. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of the On Mars Pod, and for sticking around to the end, man. I really appreciate you guys. You are the real Martians. Like this video, comment below what your favorite part was, what was most inspiring to you. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications here on future interviews coming out soon, and also follow us on Instagram at On Mars Pod. Love you guys so much. We will see you next time on Mars.